and welcome to Edison TV. Today I'm delighted to welcome Ben Nyland, CEO of Loop Energy, a company that's emerging as one of the leaders in the fuel cell systems for the commercial vehicle market. Ben joins us after Loop has just reported its 2022 Q2 earnings. Hello, Ben.
Hi, Patrick. Great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. This is another upbeat earnings release from Loop. So can you summarize the key takeaways for investors?
Absolutely, Patrick. This is it's a phenomenal progress that we've made in the last quarter. I'm very excited about it. The key takeaways would be that our business continues to accelerate and grow, and our expectations for future growth continue as well. As you know, if you've been following Loop, last year was the first year, 2021, that we really had commercial product available for customers, and our objective was to broaden our customer base. We received POs for just shy of 20 units, 19 units in 2022 or in 2021. And in the first quarter of this year, we received 24. And in this most recent announcement, we received 28 in the second quarter. So there's a continual acceleration of uptake in the market. And because we saw this coming, we'd set guidance at the beginning of the year that we thought we could triple our POs this year and then triple again next year. So we said we expected 60 purchase orders this year and 180 next year. And as you know, we've just announced that increase again. So we're halfway through the year, and we raised that guidance to POs for 100 units this year from 60, and POs for 500 units next year in 2023, an increase from 180. So we went from a triple and a triple to a quintuple and a quintuple in a matter of months. And so very excited about the way that that's going. I think it reflects momentum in the marketplace for fuel cells in general. But I think it also really represents that customers are recognizing the value in Loop and the investment that we've made in broadening our customer base, educating our customers, and educating the market is paying off in spades.
What does the recent Teva deal that you announced say about your commercialization process? And was such a large order anticipated by the company?
That's a great question, Patrick. I think the size of the order is really marking a change in the industry. When we look at this order from Teva as a true arm's length supply agreement, in the industry, I struggle to find another agreement that's of comparable size, quite frankly. There have been quite large deals, but they tend to be subsidiaries or captive fuel cell development operations. When you look at deals where a vehicle manufacturer is agreeing to buy fuel cell systems for commercial vehicles, I just don't think there are a lot of other announcements like that. And so were we surprised? Not really, because we know Teva. I mean, we've been working with them for over a year and a half through the process. Quite frankly, they ran the most complete and exhaustive fuel cell system selection process that we've seen so far. And so they're a company that many people have not heard of. They're relatively new on the scene, but I can tell you their executive, their leadership is very disciplined in the automotive sector, extreme experience, and their down selection process, ultimately leading them to select Loop, was exhaustive. And so it's not that surprising to us that their expectations are significant. And I think it's worth pointing out that, we announced the minimum commitment in the agreement. And that's the minimum commitment. Teva's expectations are higher than that in terms of what they will actually need. And so this really marks a turning point, I think, for the industry and also obviously for Loop.
You've upgraded your expectations for purchase orders going forward as a result of the announcement today. Some investors are wondering whether there was such a big step change in the company, whether you have the production capacity to help satisfy that level of demand.
Well, Patrick, I totally understand that, because this is a really big step change. I mean, we're going from purchase orders of 19 in 2021 to purchase orders of hundreds of units in 2023, and we fully expect that to happen. I think if you've been following Loop, you know that we've had a philosophy of building capacity ahead of demand. When we did our IPO in 2021, we talked about having 2 manufacturing facilities with capacity up to 1,000 modules in each facility. The build out of our Vancouver facility has been going very well, on track. And the build out of the facility in Shanghai has also been going exceptionally well. It was supposed to come online and be commissioned in the second quarter of this year. We all know Shanghai got shut down for a couple of months, but full kudos to our Shanghai team. Despite the fact they were locked up for 2 months in their own homes, they were able to really keep that process basically on track. And so we know we have that capacity in Shanghai as well. And so as we look forward to 2022, 2023, of course, we're going to be dealing with some of the same supply chain challenges of other companies, and we'll deal with those. But in terms of our ability to build units and deliver them to customers, we're very confident that the sorts of numbers that we're talking about, we will be able to deliver. We wouldn't take the contract if that wasn't the case.
That sounds like a great prospect for the company. So how do you see the other parts of the market for hybrid EV vehicles developing?
Well, as we announced shortly after the Teva announcement, mobility and innovation has also moved into the scale-up phase. Our other customers are very active. We have, 15 customers in that customer adoption cycle right now. A number of them are just on the verge of moving into that scale-up phase. And so we're really seeing a lot of activity and movement in the sector. It's being driven by truly compelling requirements to make change. And this is especially true in Europe, where we're seeing hydrogen and fuel cells have come on in recent years because of climate change as important pillars, strategic pillars for various European countries like Germany, France, Spain, the UK. But with Russia invading Ukraine, it's now become an energy security issue. And as we know, energy security is a far more compelling driver than climate change. Whether or not it should be, it just is from an economic perspective. And that we've seen in the last few months that push. And so certainly Teva's leading the charge in our customer base, but we're seeing really strong activity across the entire customer base. Very excited about the way things are going.
Seems like there's great momentum in the fuel cell part of the business. But you've also talked recently about applying your technology in other areas. So is there any update on that, Ben? Can you give us more insight into the way you're thinking there?
Yeah, absolutely, Patrick. We see the application of our fundamental technology, eFlow, being a key component in electrolyzers. And so obviously our focus over the last several years has been fuel cells, and eFlow delivers a number of benefits to fuel cells because of the way it manages the flow of gases and water and byproducts like heat in the fuel cell system. And so we sort of instinctively knew that would probably apply as well to electrolyzers. We've got a very focused approach at Loop, so we wanted to make sure we really made that transition to being a commercial enterprise in the fuel cell industry before we focused on a secondary market. But obviously, with crossing the line with Teva, we feel like we've got good, strong momentum in the commercial market and great products. And so we're leaning a little bit harder into the electrolyzer side of the business. And so we've been working with a number of different partners around the world for the last couple of years, trying to understand the fundamentals of electrolyzers and how eFlow can improve the performance. And not surprisingly, because an electrolyzer is basically a fuel cell running in reverse, those same inefficiencies introduced by the flows of gases and water and heat exist in electrolyzers. And what our initial testing has shown with these partners is that putting eFlow into an electrolyzer results in more efficient movement of the gases, more efficient removal of the heat, and more efficient movement of the water. And as a result, early testing is showing that eFlow has benefits, and we believe probably significant benefits in the electrolyzer market. We're very excited about that because, of course, green hydrogen is becoming one of the hottest sectors on the planet. The production of hydrogen applies not only to vehicles, but industrial processes. And so we see the ability for Loop to really bring strong value into that sector over the coming years.
Sounds like there's much more to come for the company. Thank you very much for your update today, Ben. And we'll watch this space with growing interest. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Patrick.